Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. My name's Phil. It is Monday night. It's 7:30. We're live here every Monday, 7:30 till 8 o'clock. It's me. It's you. What do you want to talk about? What is there to talk about? There is stuff to talk about. I want to know what you want to talk about. This is your show. Get your views, your comments in. We'll get as much on screen as possible in the next 29 minutes. Welcome to tonight's Fanzone show.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Are you ready for the show? Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. We want your views, we want your comments, so join us live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes, good evening. Welcome to Leicester Fan TV, wherever you're watching around the world, around Leicester, around Selby, around Loughborough, around Mount Sorrel, around Wigston, wherever you are. You might even be in New York, who knows. Follow us at Leicester Fan TV on all the socials. We want to get your views. We want to get your views. I'm going to say a few bits. I don't know. Maybe you want to talk about them. Maybe you don't. Who do we want to come to Leicester City? Big talking point. Where are the transfers? Who do we want to get in? Who is going? And what do we want to go? Who is staying? These are all the topics we want to know. Not a lot happening at the moment, is there? A few rumours in there. Let's get some views in. Let's get some comments in there. Evening, Nick. Hope you're well. Hope you're well. Here you bumped into Reedy the other day, Nick. Hope you're good, though. Carlos, good evening. How are you? Where are you watching from tonight, Carlos? Ben Morgan, hope you're well. Richie, hope you're well. Keep getting your views in. We'll try and get as many comments up on screen in the next 30 minutes as possible in there. Mark says, good evening. Where are the signings? Mark, that's probably the biggest question that everybody is asking at the moment. I think we need Mark to get rid of some players to get some in. So James is saying as well, get some players in. Who can we sign? James, who do you want to sign? Who do you want coming in? Let me know. Who you want in, who do you want out? Because listen, there are some players who are going to go. There's some players who you probably don't want to go. There's some who you probably do want to go. Let us know in the comments who you want in there. Terry is watching from sunny Brighton. Terry, hope you're well. Let's have a shout out. Where are you watching from tonight? I said maybe from Mount Sorrel, maybe from Wigston. Where are you watching from? Let's get a few shout outs in here. Richie says, Maddison, Barnes, Pies, Iheanacho, Pratt to go. Out of those, Richie, Maddison, I think, yes, there's all this Spurs chat at the moment. Barnes, not actually heard any big rumours about where Barnes would go, apart from he probably does want to go. Pies, I think, is making a few noises about maybe wanting to go. Pratt, I think we all think is going to go to Torino when the July the 1st opens. Iheanacho. Rumours about Nacho. What do you reckon, Richie and everybody watching? Was it Besiktas? Seemed like a strange deal, the Nacho rumour that it was. Going out to play in Turkey, we'll pay half his wages. They'll pay half his wages. And then he'll go. And then he runs down his 1 year of his contract. Doesn't seem to make sense to me. I'd love Nacho to stick around in there. Richard says, thanks, Richard says, sounds like Kelechi and Pratt are going so far. I really wanted Nacho to be. I think Nacho would have a great season in the Championship for us. Andy says the players are still on holiday. Some clubs have come back already. Now, this is probably because we finished the Premier League season later than the Championship. But some of the Championship sides, I think Watford are back. A few of them have come back. What do you think on that? Reedy says in, out, shake it all about. That works better if Craig Shakespeare was still in charge, wasn't it? Chris says sign Connor Cody in there. Do you agree with him? Somebody else in Facebook is saying get Connor Cody in there. A few shout outs to where you're watching. Carl is in Nuneaton. Lucky you, Carl. Somebody's got to be there. Up the Birstall says Blue Fox Games. It can't be a bit of Birstall. Like the Birstall down there. Hello from Chelmsford. You see, we've just started something. It's one of those nights. Listen, it's pre-season. There's no real signings out. There's no real signings in. Highfields Fox says hello from Chelmsford in there. Luke says, I agree. I don't want to see any of them play for us after such a pathetic performance from most of them. New Leicester. Luke, listen, I'd like to see some of them stay. I'd like Madders to stay. I'd like Barnes to stay. If we kept Madders, Barnes, Iheanacho, Pies, Castagna, Dennis Pratt, we'd come back up, wouldn't we? You'd like to think with the play, the skill they've got, but I'm not sure, to be fair, about the level of passion in there. It certainly didn't have it to keep us up. Isle of Man, says Gav. Chris is in Evesham. Carlos is in Rothley. Carlos, I thought you were often all round the world, so you're in Rothley at the moment, just down the road from me. Birmingham from XRP. Terry says Cody in, Evans out. Looks like Johnny Evans might go out, Terry. Which doesn't sound like, there was discussions about his new contract, and it feels like they've not announced that he's signed, as far as I know. Listen, if I've got that wrong, do let me know. Good evening, councillor. Hope you're well. Says, what can we do? No outs, so there ain't going to be no outs, so no coming in there. Now I have put the link out there. I'll pop that out there again. If you do want to come on screen, let me just pop it up there. If you want to come in and give us your views, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. If you do want to click on that link, come in and give us a little bit of your views. I'm going to get a couple of people in. I know already Nick and Ross have clicked, so just bear with, guys, in the green room there. We will come to you, trying to get as many comments in here. Richard says yes to Connor Cody. Wayne says Yates. There was quite a bit of rumours about 10 days ago about Yates from Blackpool, Wayne, but it's all gone a little bit quiet. Andrew is Market Harborough. Bradley, it's just hello. Hello, Bradley. Thank you. That's about all we've got to talk about tonight. Robert's in Swansea. Rich is in Leicester. Andy says Melton Mowbray Port Piland. Very tasty, sir. Carl says, what about some of these possibilities of loan signings from Man City? Carl, I reckon that's why a lot of Leicester fans are like hailing Maresca as like the new messiah, because he's going to pull in some top quality from the under-23s, obviously, that he knows very well from Man City. So I think we're all hoping that is going to happen. They've certainly got a nice holiday camp, training ground to go and run around at up at Seagrave. Lee's watching in Thurmaston. That's very nice. Wayne is out. Oh dear, we started competition. Who's in nice places? Biddeford in Devon, what a beautiful place, especially in the sunshine in there. This is a topic. Danlo says 40 million plus add-ons for Maddison. I'm thinking total package is 50 million. We have this debate on Twitter. I've had this debate in my house. I've had this debate at work. Assuming, and we are all assuming, Madders is going, because I think, listen, he's 26. He plays for England. He's good mates with Jack Grealish. Selfie, Instagram, private jets. None of that ties in with the Championship, if you ask me. So if Maddison is going to go, this is a question for you and me tonight. If Maddison is going to go, what's a realistic amount of money? Not, oh, we're going to hold fire and we want 70 million for him, and not, oh, we're going to sell him because it blah, blah, blah for 20. What's a realistic amount that you think? Is it 35? Is it 45? Is it 50, 55, 60? Where do you put Maddison in there? Let us know in the comments what you think. Ben says here, I love how people keep saying we can't or won't get A, B, C, D. With that attitude, we won't get anyone. Let Top and Enzo sell the project. They might surprise a few. We've got a lot of things going for us, Ben, but we're just not in that Premier League, and we're not in Europe anymore. Those sorts of things will make a big difference in here. We've got a few prices in here for Madders. Andrew says 45 million. Carlos is 60. Wayne is 50. Tops. Jonathan is 45. I'm about with Jonathan. I think if you can get 45, get it in now. Reinvest all of it into maybe 2 or 3 players, maybe 4 players. I don't know. It would get us quite a lot in the Championship, I think, in there. Richie says he'd let Maddison go for 35 million. George is saying 40 million is realistic. Luke is going 50. There's a big difference here. And look, we're all Leicester and we've all got slight differences. The lowest I've seen is 35. The highest I've seen, I think, so far is 55. I'm going to keep putting them up in there. Jason is saying no less than 50. I'm going to add Nick Moore in now. So Nick's going to come in. I'm going to start that question to Nick. Nick, good evening to you. Hope you're well.
Evening, Phil. You all right?
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Just been enjoying the sunshine at work today. Not too bad.
Looks like you got the guns out there today, Nick.
I'm hot. I've been delivering post all around the East League, hence why I've probably seen Reedy when he was getting his barnet cut.
Listen, Nick, let's just start with the Madders topic. For a start, do you think he probably is going to go?
You hit the nail on the head when you said he's big pals with Grealish and stuff like that. Let's be fair. He ain't going to play Championship football. He's really not. He's going to get. He's got in his head that he's too big for Championship football.
But he is too good, isn't he, for Championship?
Yeah, he is too good, but,
You know.
but obviously, but you could argue Vardy's too good for Championship football. But I'd bet me next week's wages that Vardy will stick around next season.
It's a slight age difference. Obviously, Vardy 36 coming on 37, Nick and Maddison at his absolute sweet spot of being 26 to 30 for a midfielder. He is in his prime of his life, isn't he?
He is, but my only concern regarding all this Maddison deal, because I had this chat with my colleague who's a big Leicester City fan as well. I haven't got so much bad quarrels of Maddison going. My only gripe would be is if he ends up at Spurs, because let's be fair, he's probably going to win more trophies with us than what he will do if he goes to Spurs. You know, Spurs count the Audi Cup as a trophy, for God's sake. So, you know what I mean? What's the point? I think looking back in his trophy cabinet when he's a granddad and he's got his grandchildren, what's he going to show off? Oh, grandson, this is my FA Cup winners medal. I won that with Leicester City. And oh, this is my such and such sponsored by Panasonic Cup I won in Asia tour. And that's it.
Nick, I think I hear what you're saying there. You're saying a bit tongue-in-cheek, but we all get what you're on about. I mean, if you were to say who's going to win another trophy in the next 3 to 5 years, it might still be Leicester ahead of Spurs. A lot of people putting in very different prices for Maddison. What's your realistic take on actually, you know, what you think we should wait to get or not wait?
I would listen to offers of around the 40 to 50 million mark. We've got to be realistic, Phil. He's got a year left.
Yeah,
you know, I think 40 to 50 million, you snap their hands off. If somebody comes in with the offer of 30 to 40 for Barnes, again, you've got to be realistic. We know we're not going to be able to pump loads of cash in this transfer window. Effectively, we've got to sell to buy. So let's not stop dilly-dallying arguing about 60 million, 70, 80, whatever for Maddison. If there's a concrete offer of 40 to 50, just take it. There you go, Enzo. Start spending.
Yeah, and again, a lot of people are saying, obviously, he's got 1 year left on his contract. Every day that ticks off is a day less against that, isn't it?
Of course it is. Yeah, of course it is. And that's the problem we find ourselves in. We're effectively now, with Maddison, we're kind of in the same situation now with Maddison as what we were in with Yuri Tillemans last summer. Do we really want to get to that stage where we can get nothing for him and he buggers off for free? It's not worth it. We should have learned our lessons last time.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick, before I let you go, was there any big topic you did want to come up? I've waylaid you into Maddison. Was there a topic you wanted to get people talking about?
Well, I was listening to the football phone-in with Pipes and stuff an hour or so ago, and they were talking about the whole squad. When you work out how many's going, etc., and who's running out of contract. And basically, I think because there's no news, realistic signings you'd like to come in, say, for example, Fass, I think will go. Castagna, we think will go. Who realistic out there in our sort of price range and who we could possibly attract do we think we can get into the club? I mean, I've heard Connor Cody mention, for me, that would be a solid signing for the defence and stuff. Player him up with Suter. There's 2 Championship players with a bit of nous about them. I think that would be good. I think we'll link with this PSG wonder kid, so Leicestershire Live says. I don't know anything about him. Does anybody know anything about this kid? Is he any good? And let's just get talking about the new season, because I'm excited. So I know it's the Championship and we're all a bit doom and gloom, but let's be fair, we're playing some of the teams we've not played in a long time to get excited. Ross is probably bouncing up and down like Zebedee from the Magic Roundabout because we're playing Sheffield Wednesday and Rotherham and all that lot, and Huddersfield. But when was the last time we played those? I mean, Cov, first game of the season. I'm excited for Cov.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick, listen, thanks for joining us and having a little chat there. I appreciate that. We'll see you very soon.
Yeah, catch you later, dude.
All right, cheers, Nick.
Bye.
So that was really interesting from Nick there. Obviously, he's talking about Madders. I'm with what Nick's saying there. I think you've got to be a little bit realistic about what Madders is going to go for. But I get it. Some people are like, keep putting the chat. Mason Mount is going to be worth 60. Declan Rice is worth going for what, 80, 90, 100 million. But we haven't got that bargaining power for 3 reasons probably. One is only a year left on the contract. 2 is we are in a Championship position now and clubs know we're in a bit of a pickle and need to sell. 3, Maddison probably wants to go. And if you add all those things up, it doesn't put us in a great position in there. Ben asks who's going to Northampton. put your hands up. I know. Not actually. I can't go, Ben. Can't do it. Got something else on that day. But Reedy's going, don't worry, Leicester Fan TV will be there. I've not heard from Tom yet whether he's going to make it. Richard is saying 40 million for Maddison and 40 million for Barnes. Richard is sticking to his guns. He's taking no more, no less. Well, it's interesting, Richard. I don't value Barnes the same as Maddison. Do you really? Do you think? Well, I mean, stats-wise, I would have thought, although Barnes has got longer in his contract, so I guess a bit of a swing and a roundabout in there. Carlos says here, big thing is Madders isn't as big as Rice or Mount. Do you mean, now what do you mean by big, Carlos? I mean, quantify big. You can't just say big. Little Will says, yet again, Leicester are taking too long to make decisions. We need these players moved on ASAP, get the deals done and move on. I do hear what Will's saying. Do you agree with him? Let's get on with this stuff. Again, Northampton is on the 15th of July. What's that? 20 days away. We've got to get a squad out there. Joanna says Barnes is staying. Thanks, Joanna. Joanna sorted it. She's had a little... Forget Enzo. Joanna's had a word with Harvey Barnes. He is staying. Thanks for confirming that. You've heard it here. That'll be on Leicestershire Live in 10 minutes' time. Hetcher says Foss Hub just posted that Spurs' first bid will be £40 million plus add-ons. Be interesting there to see if that comes good. Carlos quantifies what big means. Not as good as. Okay. So I was thinking size. I didn't know where you go with that, Carlos. I didn't know if you had insider information from down there in there. Keith, yes, Keith, that's what I was thinking. I know where you're going. Big as in Sion Chu. Listen, I think Reedy, do you want to come on, mate? He's clicked the link. Here he comes. Fresh with his fresh haircut that Nick Moore saw you having. Reedy, what do you want to talk about? What's your topic? If only Reedy. It'd be lovely. Do you know what would be lovely?
It might be good.
If he turned his microphone on.
Yeah.
That would be so good, Reedy. Do you learn nothing at the office all day?
Well, I've done
about
it now.
Technology?
I've done it now. So
he's done it.
We'll
clip that bit and that bit can go out.
Captaincy.
Captaincy.
Evans is leaving hopeful, apparently.
You nearly said hopefully. You're really digging a grave tonight, Reedy.
Hopefully. Albrighton is going to be back for us this season coming in. Does he get captaincy? I'm not too sure. I don't think he's got the captaincy sort of role in him. So who would you put down as captain for next season?
There's a question for you. So Reedy wants to know from you guys. I think, Reedy, that is a great question, but I think you're about 3 weeks too early with that question, if you ask me, because my honest is, how can you pick a captain when we've probably got 4 to 8 players to go and maybe 8 to 10 players at least to come in?
But would you really give a captain role to somebody who's coming into the game, into the club? I probably wouldn't.
So again, people watching this, who would you give it to, or would you wait? I tell you, really, I'm just going to give you my quick answer to your question. Is I hope, and this is what we've been lacking the last year or two. We've been lacking a captain, so I hope we go and buy, rent, loan, find, dig up, borrow a captain from some other club who, yes, absolutely, comes in and leads Leicester from the heart and from the centre of the pitch. That is exactly what.
Don't get me wrong. If someone like if a role like Cambiasso came in, maybe so, but someone maybe younger, unexperienced to give a captain role to, maybe kind of like a Dewsbury Hall, which we've said that we want probably a captain role to be him, but is he still too young for it? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, Nick's saying maybe give it to Vardy. Again, my jury's still slightly out on how much game time Vardy will get in this league. It is physical. A few people shouting Connor Cody if we were to sign him, Reedy.
Maybe. Obviously, he's got a lot more experience. But again, has he been in the Championship much recently? I don't think he has he?
No. Have you read much about that link with Connor Cody, Reedy?
All I've heard is rumours and whatnot, but I haven't heard any concrete evidence that we're trying to go for him. But again, like Nick Moore says, he'd be a perfect kind of replacement, I guess, for Evans. I just don't know if Connor Cody would want to drop down into the Championship.
Yeah, indeed. Ben saying Harry Suter, captain next season, big presence, literally, Reedy.
Maybe. He's come in last season, so he's had a year to bed into the club. Maybe he is a sort of player that you'd give it to. Obviously, a defender who the last couple of captains we've had has been defenders, so maybe so.
And then a couple of shouts out here for Connor Cody. Scott says, give it to Dewsbury Hall. Richie Collins says, give it to Dewsbury Hall. Emma says, Dewsbury Hall in there. Terry says, Connor Cody. And give it KDH as vice captain in there, Reedy.
I probably would agree. It's just, it's someone like Connor Cody, I just don't see dropping down into the Championship. I think maybe you would give it him if he did join, but I think it is a bit of a risk because if he does only have like a 1-year contract, and if he don't stay up, he will leave anyway. It's more of a, does he really care? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Connor Cody. He's 30 years old. He's been at Wolves and then he went out on Everton at loan. So Wolves are obviously not overly happy with him because they let him go out on loan at Everton and Everton.
Or is it going to be a new Brian Bennett?
Well, yeah, Ryan Bennett. And he says the client's being so quiet as usual. In there, Reedy. Listen, I'm going to let you go so we can get Ross on in a second and some more comments. Thanks for joining us. And a great question there. Thanks, Reedy. That's Reedy there. Great question. What do you think to him? Who should be captain? That's what his topic was in there. Ross, I'm going to get you on very, very shortly. Please bear with. And anybody else who wants to click on the link, you've got a few bits in there. You can't make Cody captain as he's walked straight in. Joanna, I don't quite understand that, but I think I'm not quite sure what you mean there. George says Dewsbury Hall or Brighton or Vardy in there. I think the who's captain question, it is going to be an interesting one. I think we definitely need a big personality as a captain, if you ask me. I just think you can't really debate it until we've seen who's in that squad, because there's going to be massive changes. And this is part of the worry slightly, if we're being honest, as it is June the 26th, in that there's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players go out. There's going to be at least 8, 9 players coming in. So it is going to be a bit of a worry in there. Keep your comments coming in. Scott saying get Nacho in as vice captain. Will he still be here? That's the big question to you, Scott. A lot of people thinking he might go in there. Joanna says can't make Connor Cody a captain as soon as he signs. I think you can, Joanna. I think you can. You can bring somebody in and say, you are going to be club captain at Leicester City and you're going to lead us back up into the Premier League in there. Phil saying, is Chowdhury still a City player? He absolutely is. Hamza Chowdhury, I think he may have a good big part to play next season. Ben says, just feels like the club isn't prepared for the season ahead. Same vibes as last summer. No clue about what's going right on. Ben, I am trying to be more positive than that. That what Ben has said there is right in my head, and I'm trying not to let it come out. You know, when you have these little split moments when you're like, a lot of fans have been having them over the last year or so, where you're going, we're going to be all right. No, we're not. You got all these voices in your head. It's a bit like this new manager. I said it last week. Bit of a gamble, if you ask me. I'll stick to what I'm saying. Fingers crossed. I'm backing him, but feels a bit like last year at times. Let's get Ross in. He's been waiting very, very patiently. Ross, good evening, mate.
Good evening.
We've got so little to talk about because nobody's been signed. We've been talking about all sorts. Ross, what do you want to talk about? Give us the topic.
Well, all Brighton should be captain. I just want to put it straight out there. I think Kevin could be a good captain, and Vardy. And someone just said, you said then, one thing I do disagree on, Philip, is when you said about Connor Cody, if he comes to Leicester, goes straight as captain. Nah. Matt Mills did that, and what happened to him? He got headbutted by Nigel Pearson. He's one of the worst centre backs we've ever had. So, absolutely not. Don't get me wrong. I'll sign him, yes, but not as captain. Nope.
So, Ross, what was the big thing you wanted to come on and talk about?
I just think, obviously, you know, all these signings, comings and goings and whatnot. Like I said it on Jamie's show yesterday, we need to know who's going first before we can buy anybody. You know, it's all in well seeing all these rumours and stuff. I mean, everyone jumps on the bandwagon when someone's been rumoured to be leaving. For example, Luke Thomas apparently was rumoured to be leaving Forest. Everyone bashed the crap out of him. Same with Iniacho. Everyone bashed the crap out of him. You know, end of the day, until it says they're on the verge, like a BBC report or a Rob Tanner report or whatever, to say, oh, they are on the verge of leaving or they've signed for this club. It's all just a lot of bull at the moment, and it just annoys me. Everyone jumps on the bandwagon as soon as a player is been rumoured to be leaving. We know, obviously, Maddison, we're going to get that. Of course, we're going to meet you. I'm going to bash
Ross,
it.
I believe I'm right in saying, Ross, that John Percy of this Telegraph is reporting that Spurs are coming in for Maddison. Are you aware of that? Do you take that or not?
Yeah, obviously
John
Percy is a very,
John
very
Percy?
John Percy's
So
a reliable. Yeah, he's a reliable source at Leicester Mercury. But if he comes in, I mean, obviously, if Maddison doesn't want to win a trophy the rest of his career, then he can happily join Tottenham. Because if I was in Maddison's shoes, and I would rather go Newcastle, where they've just got in the Champions League, the first time in 20 years, with that atmosphere at St James's Park, why would you want to go to a team that have got no ambition? The manager, obviously, with his last name, whatever you want to call him, their squad is just a mess and stuff, and they don't even have European football. Like, it just baffles me, but it is what it is. Yeah, that's my take on stuff.
Ross, Curtis says here, I hate rumours. Do you hate rumours, Ross?
Rumours at all.
Do you know what? I love it. I love to hear a little rumour, a little snippet, because there's no football on, and I love a rumour, but you hate it as well, do you, Ross?
I'm not the biggest fan of it. No, I end of the day. Do you know when all these fixtures got leaked and everyone suddenly believed? I'm thinking, well, it's a lot of bull as usual, because we ended up playing Coventry at home. Which someone Nick put that in for when was the last time we played all these teams? Them 3 teams that he mentioned: Coventry, Huddersfield, and Rotherham. Last time we played Coventry on the first day of the season was, ironically, that's the same day, 6th of August, 2011. 2011 was the last time we played Coventry away from home. Obviously, at home was in 2012. Huddersfield was in 2019, away from home. I was there. And the last time we played Rotherham away from home was 19 years ago in the league, in 2004 at Millmore. So there's your answer.
Ross, you're bringing me down with all these teams we're going to be playing. I'm going to let you go, mate. Thanks a lot for waiting.
Rome to Rotherham.
Yeah, Rome to Rotherham. That's the name of the book, isn't it? All right. Cheers,
do you know what? That should be the book. Whoever makes a book, about the downfall of Leicester the last couple of years. Obviously, we say Madrid to Rotherham, but Rome to Rotherham sounds better, to be fair.
I love it. All right. You're a star. Cheers,
anyway.
Ross. Thank you.
See you later.
I think Ross is from Rome to Rotherham. Come on, Ross, bringing it down, mate. Come on. Oh, dearie mate. Listen, it is that nagging what's going in there. Joanna's looking forward to Carve's first game, Ross. Should be a great atmosphere for those of us that were there way back then. Keith says here, Newcastle can't buy Madders because of FFP. They are having to be... Again, this is where FFP makes no sense at times, Keith, is it? Because Newcastle are having to be very careful about what they spend their money on. And yet Chelsea just blow the bank. Man City blow the bank. It seems very strange. They're probably trying to keep Newcastle out of the top 4, aren't they? Spurs deal is all but done, says Keith in there for Madders in there. Again, John Percy from the Telegraph reporting that, which he normally is a good, reliable source in there. Nick says in the Vardy film title from Prem to Rotherham. I preferred from Rome to Rotherham. But I tell you what, it's still an exciting story. Maybe it's not over yet. Maybe the Jamie Vardy story is not quite over. We keep saying this. Maybe it is to get us back into the Premier League. Maybe that will be the final thing Jamie Vardy gives Leicester, because he has given Leicester so much, hasn't he, over the time in there. Gary says, we all get very fed up every time we look at the news. Always Leicester players leaving. Madders this time, Barnes this time, and so on. It's annoying. But Gary, like some people have said, I think like Ben Morgan said earlier and Nick Moore said to it, we've got to get rid of some of these players. Whoever's going to go needs to go, because we've got to replace them. And if we're going to spend any money, it's going to come from players we sell. And to be fair, there's going to be some players who want to come into the club who are not going to join if they're like, it's hard to go and sign a central midfielder maybe if they look and go, well, you've got James Maddison in there and Harvey Barnes and Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. I'm not going to get into playing that. So Ben's just clarifying here. He said, more to my point about how we aren't prepared for the season ahead. Just one pre-season friendly here in England. The Asian tour will ruin us for the season ahead. Ben, I said it 4 weeks before the end of the season. The Singapore trip, you know my feelings on that. Not sensible. I believe we are also playing OH Leven, our sister club, in a closed behind doors, because they're coming pre-season training, I believe, up at Seagrave-on-Sea. So we have got a little bit, but I agree. I'd rather see us play Northampton, Derby, some of these games. We need to get tough. We need to get really, really tough. Last couple of comments then before we finish. Terry says here, can't wait to see players that want to play for us next season. Hamza will be key. Terry, I hope you're right. I'd like to see Hamza and Dewsbury Hall in there together. That would be a much, I'd have probably said Hamza and Dewsbury Hall would have put up more fight than what we saw for half of last season, if I'm honest in there. Steve Finch says, cheers, mate. Nice pint of Guinness. I want to call him Finchy as well. What it is, anybody who's called Finch, Finchy, I'm sure you get nicknamed that, Steve. Anyway, the Asian toy is an absolute joke. It is. It's all about branding. It's all about a little bit of money. It's about getting the Leicester name out there. We need to reset. We need to reset. Listen, we won't get invited to any more things like that until we get back to the Premier League. Crazy tour, I know. Councillor, sir, we've been through it all. I've said it is stupidity. If it was me, I'd cancel it. Unless there's some legally blinding thing, I'd just be like, this isn't going to set us up for the season in there. Finchy says, absolutely. Good with me. Thanks, Finchy. Good to have you on there. Scott says, do you think we could see our youth getting more games? Scott, that is a great question for another show. What has happened to the Leicester City Academy? What has happened to the Leicester City under-21s, under-22s, under-23s? Not a lot broken through. Could have done with 1 or 2 last season to step. I kept thinking, where's you know, when you're watching Roy of the Rovers for you older people, or Goal or whatever, when you see a film and a movie and you think there's some youngster and you just go, come on, stick him on the bench and then just give him 10 minutes at the end of a game. We really didn't see much of that. I know a couple of the lads played in one of the cup games away. Was it we scraped through 1-0. It was that much of a boring game. Was it Southend? No, was it Southend away 1-0? Earlier this year in January, one of you all put it in there. They didn't play very well. They got a little bit of a go, but it was a tough game, very windy. You know the one I mean. Joanna says we're going to need some young, hungry talent wanting to prove themselves. Nothing like lower league tough players. Joanna, been saying this for a while, honestly. A lot more aggressive play. No worries about getting injured in there. Sat says players and managers come and go. Supporters remain. Keep the faith. We'll be back. Sat, we're all with you keeping the faith in there. Thank you for lots of people who've just put Gillingham in there. I bet that's Reedy. Thank you, Reedy. Honestly, I can't remember what I did yesterday. But if you want to talk about the 1982 quarter-final in the FA Cup, Shrewsbury coming to Leicester, I probably remember it ball by ball, match by match. Same for lots of other games, but just there's some games, I think Gillingham away. Yeah, Will Alves. Well, good. Will Alves has got injured, hasn't he? I think, Scott. So I'm hoping him all the best and he gets back. So let's hope he can come in there. George says Ben Nelson had 2 loan moves to the lower leagues and it must deserve a chance as well. There's the young lad, isn't there? George Hurst. Been around a little bit. But he's getting on now, 24. But it took Dewsbury Hall a little bit in there to get through there. Ben says thoughts on the new kits. Not really seen them yet. I know we've seen photos, seen bits and bobs. We've talked about kit launches being played on the last day of the season, so that kit is already cursed. So let's hope that one isn't in there. Listen, it's just gone 8 o'clock. We're live every Monday, 7:30 till 8. If you're watching this on playback, come join us live. You can get your views in. We can talk about whatever it is. Hopefully by next Monday, we'll have had a little bit of transfer news out and a little bit of transfer news in. We've got the manager in place, but the countdown is ticking. Next Monday is already the 3rd of July. 3rd of July. We play Northampton on the 15th. Next Monday's night's Fanzone show, when I'm chatting with you again, there's going to be 12 days till we have a pre-season game. Got to get some players in. Got to get some players gone. You know it. I know it. I hope somebody at Leicester City is on it. They are, aren't they? They are. They are. They are, though, aren't they? Forget the last year or 2 of chaos. They are sorting it. You are sorting it, aren't you, Leicester? You are. See you next Monday.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.
forgot to say thanks for all your views, all your comments. You know I can't do it without you guys. So thanks a lot. Everybody who came on screen, everybody who put a comment in, tried to get as many on screen as possible. See you all next week. Come on, Leicester.